What is up, everyone? Here we are, episode 14, Yank This, here on Fired Up Sports, coming off the big sweep against Boston, and then taking two against the Rays, and then, what was it? We took three against Minnesota. We're looking good, we're feeling good, and looks like right now Toronto's getting shelled by Tampa, so it looks like by the end of the day, we're only going to be 13 games out of a lock. Tommy, how are we feeling?
Uh, Much better than last week. Definitely much better. Some things are trending in the right direction. Some things not, but I definitely feel better than last week. Yeah, man, it's been good. Pitching's been good. Nestor's been good. Uh, Tyone had a good start. We're starting to hit the ball, which is nice. Guys are coming back, getting healthy. It's good, man. It's good to be a Yankee fan right now. We didn't get swept by the Cubbies. Sorry Mets, but it's it was a
Listen, I'll
good it
take
was
the
a
piss
good
out of Mets fans
good couple
whenever I
days,
can.
man. Good couple days.
Yeah, like I said, 4-game streak right now. Taking two against Tampa was big, and then the sweep against Boston in the 2-game series. Even though it got a little close at the end of game one, and then got a little close at the end of game two, because of
But see, that's
unforced
where
errors.
that's where like a month ago we would have lost those two games.
Even a
Honestly,
couple weeks ago, we would have lost
yeah,
those two
maybe
games.
even 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago we would have lost those games. So we settled down, and just we got those wins. 2 3 weeks ago, like you said, we really weren't getting those wins in games like this where we had the lead and then we blew it. So took advantage of a miscue by Boston there by like them throwing around the horn like they're playing friggin' baseball in a pickup game. But hey, man, it is what it is. A W is a W. And nice little 2 game sweep against our foes. Even though they're out of it, it's good to beat up on Boston anyway.
Yeah, it's always
No
fun to
matter
beat
what
up
the
on
records are.
Boston.
Yep.
Listen, Gleyber Torres with that Little League home run was a highlight of the last couple of days, and
Yeah.
Gleyber Torres himself seems to have come back from what he was before the All-Star break.
Yeah. Well, this is the player that we thought that we had a couple of years ago, right? This is the guy that we didn't want to put in no trade for nobody. And then at one time we were going to trade him, and rightfully so because he'd been struggling the last, beginning of the season / even last year. So this is the guy that we thought we had. This is the guy that we want to have, locking down that second base spot, and it's good to see him turning it around and starting to play really well.
Yeah, 6 RBIs in that series. He had the bases clearing triple to seal it in game one, and then the
He's
inside the
just so
park.
good he's just so good when he goes to the right side.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a lot of his base hits, Chris, are like going through the opposite. They're shifting on him. That will be gone next year. You have to have two defenders on each side of the base. But for right now, what he's doing is working, and he's going oppo on line drives. And even when he hits it into the gap, it's going to right center, and that's where he needs to be.
Yeah, he's poking them through, and that's really something that Jeter always excelled at was getting those opposite field hits. But Glaber, yeah, he looks like a lot better version of himself, and you could really tell sometimes when he's trying to pull the ball, when he's just
Yeah.
trying to just rip the ball down the line. When he's more calm up there and more aware of what the defense is doing, he's been playing really well at least the last
Yep.
week.
If he tries to pull those pitches that he's been hitting to the second base side and in between that hole between first and second, if he pulls those, it's a roll me over ground ball to short and third every time, and that's not what he's doing now. So he looks locked in. It's a good time to have it happen. With only 20 games left before the postseason. Obviously, we're probably going to most likely get a first round bye, so it'll probably be about maybe 3 weeks before we really start, 3 4 weeks. But I like what we're looking right now. It's better than what it was about, let's say, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, given how the playoffs are shaping up right now, Houston probably is going to lock up that 1 seed. And honestly, that's probably I wouldn't mind them locking up the 1 seed because of who they would have to play. They would either have to play as fitted right now. They would have to play Toronto or they would have to play Seattle. And I would much rather face Cleveland or Tampa in the first round than one of those two teams.
Yeah, I like I said, I thought when we did this probably episode 6 or 7, so probably about a good 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago now. You guys asked me what team I thought scared me only, and I always told you Houston only in American League. Um, that has changed since we haven't been playing the best baseball. But you want to know what? At the end of the day, man, I think we're going to be ready to come postseason, and I'm switching back to only being scared of Houston. I think we're going to be able to actually handle the other teams that we face and I predict us to face Houston in the end when it comes all said and done in the American League Championship Series. Do I think we could beat them? Yeah. Do I think we will? I'm not really sure. But we do have a chance. We're playing better baseball, and let's just see what happens.
They're getting Verlander back, which is big.
Yeah,
Okay, I think
he's been out a
Verlander
while.
is coming back this weekend, and what Verlander has done, he's probably going to win the Cy Young if McClanahan doesn't come back. I think Verlander is far and away, especially because he's got the story. He's got, he's on the best team in baseball. He's on one of the best teams in baseball in Houston. He's 40 years old, coming off Tommy John surgery, and he's played some of the best baseball he's ever played since his years in Detroit. And it's been amazing to watch. And I would really like to avoid them until the championship series, but I'm not as confident as you right now. I feel like if we do somehow run into a trap team like Seattle, we could lose that, especially because they've played so well against us in the past.
Yeah, I hear you about Seattle. They might be on that list of teams that scare me, but actually, honestly, at the same time, they're not proven. They're not a playoff proven team. They got a lot of young guys, man. I'm not saying they're going to shit the bed, and I'm not saying they're going to be lights out. But when the lights come on, let's see what happens. A team that hasn't been in the playoffs in how many years? How many has it been?
I think it's been since they had that record-breaking season.
So you're talking about 17 years ago, 18 years ago?
Yeah, and
So
in the end, they got bounced out by the Yankees in the end.
yeah, so like you said, it's good. It's good to have a good It's good to have a regular good season. But let's see what these young kids and what this staff can do. Excuse me, their staff can do for the playoffs. I'm not really worried. I know they've been playing really good, but we'll see. I'm not really scared about Tampa or Toronto. Um, it's always Houston, always has been Houston, and it's still staying that way for me, and possibly Seattle. But like I said, they haven't been there before, so I really don't know what's going to happen with them.
Yeah, true enough. We've talked about it over the last couple of weeks. The Central really is just a rollover division. Whoever makes it out of the Central is probably gone in the first round. But I've seen this team just fold again under the pressure before, though. Like there's something about Tampa that is just I don't want to play them because they will find a way to win. They're just they're if we beat that team, it'll be an annoying out. They're just a team that will find a way to steal
Well,
a
yeah, it's
win. They'll
not going to be
small ball you
easy.
to death.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy when we play them, but I still think we could beat them.
I think Tampa would be the perfect team right now because they're not, the big long ball threat that a lot of teams are going to be in the postseason, and we don't have guys that will really give up a ton of hits. I mean, other than Tyon, maybe Nestor on an off day, but
Yeah,
even Cole the
and
other day, he allowed 4 runs and 3 of them were home runs.
yeah, that's that. And that's the thing about Cole, right? I mean, I know we'll get to him later, but he's always been the guy to give up home runs, even when he was with Pittsburgh and with Houston. Um, his stuff is just too good. He's not the guy who really gets like smacked around. The one start he only pitched like 2/3 of innings because he walked like 5 guys too. Like he's not a guy who you like hit like base hit bait. Like no, the other day when Yankees went 8 straight singles against Kluber, that doesn't
Yeah.
happen to Cole. It's either like dominant, then a home run, dominant, then a home run. I think he had like 10 Ks the other night against Boston, and
Yeah,
he
it's
gave up
10
3 home
strikeouts,
runs.
4 hits, 3 3 of them were
It's
home
like,
runs.
dude, if you stop giving up the long ball, you're gonna be phenomenal. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
don't know,
sure.
man. He leaves too many hanging sliders over the plate, too many get me over fastballs, and that's when his stuff gets hit.
It might just be something at Fenway. He's very ritualistic. Maybe he just has bad like juju or bad feng shui at in Fenway because he's been getting railed there ever since he
But
joined
yeah,
this team.
did you watch the interview after the game with him where she asked him, Maris Morakovich was like,
I
she
missed
asked
it.
him, dude, she doesn't play, man. She asked some fucking balls to the walls question. She was like, how do you feel about always giving up home runs? Pretty much, how do you feel about giving up home runs a lot at Fenway? He was like, I don't know. Like he didn't even know what to say. Like she asks you some tough questions, man, like on the spot. And it's pretty funny to fucking see her challenge him like that. And he didn't really answer it. He kind of beat around the bush a little bit, but it was pretty funny, man. You should definitely try to Google the after game interview of her in the dugout, her in the clubhouse with Cole. It's pretty funny.
No, I'll definitely take a look at that after the show. But yeah, I think other than, us giving up long balls, which has been Cole's problem, he's been phenomenal. He's still an ace. He's still the best pitcher on this team. It's just a matter of when we have to face a team like Seattle, when we have to face a team like Houston, it's just going to be I'm going to be on edge facing those teams. And that's kind of where I'm at with Cole right now. Do I think that they pose a legitimate threat? No, nobody but really Houston. I agree with you on that just because top to bottom, they just have an insane lineup. Kyle Tucker's having a career year. I don't even think he's 25 yet.
Yeah, he's
Altuve,
definitely good.
Jordan, Jeremy Pena, even though he's not the best fielder, he's still a very solid prospect. Bregman has found ways to kill us in the past. At least we don't have to see Michael Brantley because he's out for the rest of the year. But
Yeah, Houston. That's the thing about Houston's time is almost done, man. Like those guys are getting older in the tooth now. The Altuves and the Brantleys and the other guys. Jordan Alvarez is young, Tucker's young, but the rest of those guys are up there in age. So like, if we're it would be nice to slay Houston while we can, if we can. Obviously we're not exactly a young team either, but we got to take advantage of it and try to get those guys, man. It'd be nice to beat them. Um, I mean, we can do it, but we got to get back to playing some good baseball.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of that, though, we've talked about in the past about Judge. What would be better for him? Like, or what would be better for us if he won the MVP or not? Do you think if we get bounced by Houston, do you think that do you think Judge has a better or worse shot at staying with the team if we can't make the World Series this year?
Honestly, I don't know if might have a couple different parts of this answer. I don't know if it really matters whether we win the World Series or not this year. I think that guy's going to go to the highest bidder. He's not going to give the Yankees no hometown discount. I'll tell you that right now. If he would gave him a hometown discount, he would have been locked up for 7 years and 213. Okay, so there's no hometown discount. I think the team that will give him 8 9 years, 300 million will be the team that gets him, whether we win the World Series or not. Because you can look at it this way: if we win the World Series, okay, he's going to want to stay. You would think, right? Because we just won, we have a chance to repeat again. We got young prospects coming up. It's appealing, right? Okay, great. He'll sign 8 years, 300, lock him up forever, right? Make him the
That's really
next
my
team.
question. Do you think a deep run helps or hurts his chances at staying?
I really don't think it matters. That's what I'm saying. I really don't think because like if we don't make a deep run, he's gonna want to. Oh, well, let's run it back again. I'm gonna re-sign anyway, and let's run it back. Or hey, we just won it. We can run it back again. I don't think it really matters. I think he's gonna go to the most money and the most years. If you really wanted me to be honest.
Okay. No, I can definitely see that. He has been putting up insane numbers all year. He's first in pretty much every statistical category that
Yeah,
matters.
I screenshotted that last night. I can't upload it, but he's first in everything, man. Like I got it. I'm gonna read it what it is right now. So he is. Oh, I thought I had it. I did
I got it
screenshot
here.
it. You
He's
got it
first
there.
in
Okay.
home runs at 57, first in RBIs at 123, first in runs at 116, first in on base percentage at 414, first in slugging at 692, and of course, if you're in first place in on base and slugging, OPS, he's also in first with a 1.1. He's just been the best
His
player
yo
in
his
baseball, top to bottom all year.
they said his WAR was like a 9.0. Like no one has had that in like 60 years.
No, 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 no. He's on his way to a 10 WAR. The last guy to have it was Mookie Betts and Mike Trout.
It's crazy, man. I went to the barbershop today, got a haircut. One of my close friends cuts my hair. He's a huge Met fan, and we always talk about baseball. I go there every week, and we talk about baseball. And what we said today was, then he goes, I can't remember the last time that I turned off a game, the Mets game, or a game or something that I'm watching and tune into a Yankee at bat just to watch Judge hit these last couple weeks. That's what he said he does, which is crazy, right? Because he's a Met fan. He's not a Yankee hater, but he's a Mets fan, right? And, but he says that what Judge is doing is historical, and obviously it is, right? It's it's one of the best offensive seasons that you're ever going to see in baseball ever.
Mhm.
Not that we've seen. I'm talking about the next 40 years. I don't care. The guy is 7 points away from being winning the Triple Crown. He has home runs and RBIs locked up. He's chasing Bogarts by 7.7. It's
I think
310
it's
to
Bogarts and
317.
Arias.
Yeah, Arias actually dropped down now because he's been on a bad stretch. It's Bogarts
Okay.
at 3.7. It's Bogarts at 317. Judge batting 310. So he's hitting 486 for the month of September. If he keeps this up the next couple of weeks and hits a couple of hits a game here, which he easily can do, he's going to win the Triple Crown. He's going to bat 315, dude, with 60 home runs and 140 RBIs. He's about one of the best statistical seasons in the history of baseball.
2 Triple Crown watches because you also got Goldie in the National League. I think he's leading the National League or he's close to the top in all of the major categories.
The only one he's not
Riley.
The only one he's not going to win. Well, I know he's definitely not going to win his batting average. Freeman's batting like almost 325.
Is he?
Yeah, Freddie Freeman's killing it, dude. I believe it's 320 something his average, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember Goldie was. I think I saw a stat. It was a week ago. It may be outdated, but he was like 4th in average, 2nd in RBIs, and 1st in home runs. I know Austin Riley overtook him in home runs, though.
Yeah, it's funny because we talked about that today at the shop too. We talked about like MVP and how Judge is a shoe in, and last year they see why Ohtani got it and blah blah blah. But they were saying that there's an article printed that Nolan Arenado was taking away like MVP votes from Goldie because he's batting now 300 with 30 home runs. Arenado, so I could see maybe some votes going towards Freeman because he is batting 320 something, but I still think it's Goldie. But I heard that Arenado's making a pretty big push too.
Well, we're talking about MVP right now. You can make the same case about Mike Trout and Ohtani. Like those guys are going to siphon votes off of each other because they're both. Trout's got 35 home runs in like 40 less games than everybody else, and then Ohtani's doing what he's doing on both sides of the ball. He's got 34.
Yeah,
they're probably just going to.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're just going to siphon all votes from each other, and I think that clears the path even more for Judge for the
Let
MVP.
me tell you something. I'm not one to fucking throw a riot or whatever, but if Judge doesn't win the MVP, it'd be the biggest fucking snub in sports history.
You could have said the same thing in 2016 with Altuve, especially with everything that was released afterwards about what that Houston team had done in that time, where Judge had Altuve beaten everything other than like average and strikeout rate.
Yeah, I just think that like last year, I'm still. I think the conversation we had, I was big on. I thought that Vladimir Guerrero should have won the MVP last year because if it wasn't for him, Toronto wouldn't have made the playoffs. That's my opinion. That's where I stand on it. I think. Listen,
did Toronto make the playoffs last year?
I thought they did, didn't they?
I think they were like a game out. They were like I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure Boston.
I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure Boston, Tampa, and the Yankees made it.
Okay, so they were close to it. So last year I was what Ohtani's doing is amazing, dude. Like I'm not taking that away from Ohtani. I'm really not. To be 12-8 with a 2.80 ERA, 188 Ks, bat 260 with 35 home runs, dude. What he's doing is unbelievably amazing. I'm not taking that away from him. But they're gonna finish 75 and 87, somewhere around that range.
Yeah.
So to me, how do you give this guy the MVP when their team is 20 games under 500? That's the problem I have with it.
Yeah, Judge is on one of the best teams in baseball. It's the same reason why I'm saying Justin Verlander should probably win the Cy Young because he's on the better team compared to McClanahan. He's got the better story. He doesn't have that much time left in the game. I think it's the perfect time to give Verlander another Cy. But yeah, last year it was Boston and the Yankees in the wild card, and Tampa Bay won the division.
Okay.
So Toronto wasn't in there. I remember it came down to like the last game of the year though.
Yeah, it did actually. And now remembering it. So in my opinion, it's like if Vlad was off that team, they're fucking 8 to 10 games behind that pace.
I think the last game of the series was the last game of the season. It was Yankees versus Rays. And then I think Judge walked it off, if I remember. Judge walked it off, and Wade scored from second on like an infield single.
Yes, he did. Judge hit like a little dribbler, and Wade scored. Yes, I remember that. I just think that I love what Ohtani's doing, dude. It's pretty sick. It's like a high school football player who's like a linebacker and then the starting wide receiver. You just don't see that in sports, but he's doing it at a pro level, and he's doing it both really good. I get that. But This year, I'm sorry. It's not even. And listen, if Judge wasn't having the year he was having, then I would say give it to Otani because he's phenomenal. But what Judge is doing and carrying this team and leading the offensive categories that he is in every single category in both divisions, the guy's having a maybe top 5 to 7 statistical year in all of baseball history.
I think it's the best season since Miguel Cabrera in 2013, where he had the triple crown and led the league in homers and when he was doing everything. But you can compare it to what Russell Westbrook did in the NBA when it came to the MVP. The first year he had the triple double. You know, it hadn't been seen since Oscar Robertson, so you give it to him over James Harden. But then the next year when he does the exact same thing, now it's not a novelty anymore. Now you got to show a little something more, and I think that's where Judge is going to benefit in the same way that James Harden did. At least that's where I'm at when it comes to MVP right now, because it's not a novelty anymore. We've seen you do it. Now, can we see you do it and then win? Is the question, and that's
yes.
where Otani is failing.
Well, listen, and that's where I feel bad for someone like Otani and Trout because they're stuck to that fucking terrible organization in LA, right? Like, just brutal. It's so bad because like they don't get the media coverage they should get because they're in LA, they're on the West Coast, even though they're a big city. No offense, the Angels don't pull in what the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Mets even do, right? So like he's not getting the recognition. No one knows about him. They know about him, but they don't see him on a daily basis like they do, right? So I just think that it's sad that those guys are stuck in an organization like that.
Yeah, Mike Trout is going to go down as one of the best players ever, and he's also going to be one of the best players to never really have a chance at a World Series.
A lot of people are already saying that if Trout can get back healthy, which he seems okay right now with that back injury, that if he gives you another 3-4 solid years, that some people are saying he's like the best player to ever play the game. That's pretty crazy, dude. Like,
and for him to never have a deep playoff run, and people are saying that just shows how great Mike Trout really is.
Well, you know what though? The guy, listen, at the end of the day, you know, it's people like to stay where they are, where they're happy, where they're comfortable, obviously, because he could have clearly got the money anywhere else he wanted, dude. It's not about the money with Trout, obviously. He likes staying in LA. He liked being out there because he could have came. He's from Jersey. He could have went to the Yankees. He could have came to the Mets. He could have played with Baltimore. He could have went to the Red Sox, right? You know, all the teams he could have went to, but he decided to stay in LA and ride it out, and they're not good.
I could be wrong, but the year that he did sign that deal, it was the year after they did make the playoffs. One of the 2 years that they made it. I think I remember them making the wild card in the last few years, and I think he signed shortly after that. So maybe he thought the team was in a better position, but that was a really long-term deal, and it's a shame to see right now. Hopefully, if and when Artie Moreno sells the team, they go in a much different direction. But my fear is, when Moreno sells the team, I think Otani is gone, because if they're looking to sell, they're not going to want to take. They're not going to.
I think Otani becomes a Met. I think DeGrom leaves.
You think so? Where do you think DeGrom goes?
Not really sure. I don't know where he's originally from, but I heard not like I heard as if I'm in the clubhouse hearing this, but there's rumors around the hearsay that DeGrom wants to leave. So I'm not sure where he would go, but Otani does have connections to the Mets with, I think, one like the assistant GM or something, or agent or something, like, I don't know, was like recruiting him or something like that. I don't know. Works for the Mets now. So right. I don't know. I could see him in New York, man. Big Asian market, coming to New York City. A lot. Listen, think about it. I know. Imagine Otani pitching for the Mets. More
Otani
in the spotlight.
And Scherzer.
Dude, but I'm just saying, like, imagine Otani putting on a Mets uniform and pitching in New York, dude. Like, how big it would be back in Japan.
That'd be massive, yeah.
Even in the Yankees. Imagine that. Imagine remember, like, we got Hideki Irabu and the other guys, like, it was Matsui.
When Matsui came to the team, even when Ichiro came to the team later in his career.
Yeah, especially when Matsui came, it was a huge deal, man. Like, it was a big deal.
Yeah, Godzilla, great. He was a major factor in that 2009 World Series. He had like 500.
Him, A-Rod, and A-Rod were unreal in that 2009 World Series.
Well, the pitching was also insane. AJ Burnett had his best year that year. CC Sabathia was the ace. Did we have Phil Hughes at the time? I remember Phil Hughes was also around.
Yeah, he might
around
have
that
been in the
time.
bullpen for those series. I don't know what exactly he was doing, but he was there.
DeGrom is from Florida, so maybe he would go to Miami if we're taking hometown into account. I just don't see DeGrom leaving. I think Cohen will throw him in a massive amount of money. I think he'll throw him a massive amount of years. And Cohen is the type of guy that I think he'll do the same with Otani. If you can get a rotation like that of Scherzer, DeGrom, Otani, and like Bassett, and you could let Taiwan Walker just leave, you can do whatever the fuck you want with Taiwan Walker.
Yeah,
It's a scary
Taiwan
sight.
Walker sucks.
Listen, I remember when he was in Arizona, and I thought he was great. Him and Robbie Ray in Arizona, I thought were really good. But now you could see Robbie Ray doing well in Seattle, and you could see Taiwan Walker not doing so well in a Mets uniform. But like we said, Judge, I think. What's up? What's up, Tommy?
Taiwan Walker was pitching above his head the first half of the season. Let's call Taiwan Walker what he is: a guy who had a decent career with the Braves, pitched well with the Mets for a little bit, but came back down to reality.
Yeah.
No one knew that. No one thought that was sustainable. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
No, not at all. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think what Shohei Otani is going through is just comparable to what Russell Westbrook went through in the NBA. Once in a lifetime stat line, but then when you do it twice in a lifetime, it's like, okay, now we need you to win something. And I think Judge, with what he's done top to bottom with the New York market, with all the story going on about his contract and everything, nobody is more talked about in baseball than Aaron Judge right now. And I think he's going to be the most valuable player because of
Yeah,
that.
everyone
And
listen. People, everyone wants to know where is he going to end up? Like, what's going to happen? Like, are the Yankees? Are the Yankees going to give him a hometown discount? Are the Yankees going to give him the extra years he wants and then more money? Are the Yankees going to stay firm on this is what we value him at? Obviously, the Yankees valued him at dude at $30 million a year. That's why they gave him 7 years, 213. They valued him at that deal exactly. Um, and like I said, I watch the Michael Kay show every day I get home from work. I catch the end of it. And it's the same thing Michael Kay says whenever they talk about it. Like, are the Yankees going to give more than they already offered? And he doesn't think that they will. He obviously doesn't know anything, but, he probably hears a little bit of rumbling around the clubhouse being their announcer and play-by-play guy for how many years as he has. I don't know if the Yankees are going to all of a sudden, like, do you think the Yankees are all of a sudden, Chris, going to go from 7-2-13 to 9-350? No, they're not going to do that. They would have fucking did it already. He didn't need this break, Chris. He didn't need this breakout season. Not breakout. He didn't need this record-setting historic season to get what he was going to get. Everyone knew you were getting a 35 to 45 home run guy every year if he plays 150 games. He showed you he's staying healthy this year, okay? And that's why he's putting out the numbers he can. Obviously, he's not going to hit 55, 60 every year, but you're getting a 35 to 45, 90 to 110 RBI guy who's going to hit 295 every year. That's what you're getting. He didn't need this year to set the market. The market was set with other guys before him on the deals they got. And I'm just hoping that the Yankees get him. If not, dude, listen, the Yankees are
I don't think
damned if they do.
I think you're right. I don't think he needs to set the market. I just think he's going to.
Well, that's it. The market's already set though with guys before him that got deals. Like, and they're granted they were younger when they got the deals, but like guys like Bryce Harper and Mookie Betts and these guys that got these long-term deals, they're getting longer-term deals. So he's gonna sign something around. Freeman, great player. Olsen, great player, but come on,
Yeah, true enough. I just think with the season that Judge is having, he can ask for anything, and someone's going to pay it. And
Yeah, but
I
the thing
would
is,
want it to be this
if
team.
that someone's gonna be the Washington Nationals, he's not gonna go there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the Oakland Athletics fucking signed him, gave him 10 years, 400 million, which they couldn't, you think he'll go there? No.
Well, no, I'm talking about okay, fine. Realistically,
it's got to be a realistic team with a realistic contract. That's gonna happen. I think he ends up a Yankee.
So what are those realistic teams? You got the Giants. That's been the team that everybody's talked about.
I say the Giants, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox.
The Red Sox wouldn't pay Mookie Betts. I don't think they're going to pay Judge.
I don't know, man. No offense, Judge is better than Mookie Betts. He is.
This season, yeah.
No, in general,
Overall,
he is.
career wise, it is debatable. Mookie Betts has been insane, especially defensively, right field,
I think that
transitioning. Mookie Betts is a great player.
I think Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Mookie Betts are 97, 97 and a half, 98 on like the threshold. I think they're all the same player.
You think so? All right,
100%.
I could see that much. I could see that much, but I think it's kind of unfair to guys like Mookie to be like, yeah, Judge just clears. It's definitely still a debate. Judge is having the better year, but it's still a debate on who's the better player overall.
Yeah, I think they're both just as good as on the
Because
on the
you said
at-
to
in the
yourself,
out.
Judge is not going to be someone that's going to hit 60 home runs every year.
No, but
He's
going
going
to
to
hit
be that
45 every
35,
year.
40 guy. And that's what Mookie Betts has done this year. He's kind of slid under the radar. He's having a quietly great season in LA. Because of guys like Freeman, because of guys like Judge at his position just playing better. But Mookie Betts is still one of the best players in baseball. It's not
he's great.
Clear for Judge that clearly Judge is the better player.
Yeah.
I think you're right in saying that they're around the same echelon. They're around the 4 to 7 range when it comes to where they're at.
It's like being a 1 to 10 on a scale. Like I think they're all 7.5, 8. I don't think if someone said to you, "Oh, I like Mookie Betts better, or I like Judge better, or I like Harper better," you're gonna be like, "Okay, that's just your preference." You know, I think they're all the same guys.
I was a big Harper guy. I always have been since he was.
I've been a Bryce Harper guy since I watched him play high school ball in Las Vegas when I lived there.
I love me some Bryce Harper. I wanted him on this team before Judge, really broke out as the star of the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you talk about the best players in the league, they all play right field at this point, right? Because you got Soto, you got Judge, you got Betts, and you got Harper. And then you could throw guys like DeGrom in there if you want to throw a pitcher in there, Ohtani, Trout, Jose Ramirez. But that's just a talent-rich position right now. And, you can get it elsewhere, which is why I was a big guy when it came to Juan Soto. Even week 1, when you guys were yelling at me that it was never going to happen, that Juan Soto was going to stay in National, that Juan Soto wasn't going to get moved. I'm like, hey, this is a younger guy that could do exactly what Judge is doing. He's a lefty bat, power bat, speed, great discipline. And then he ends up getting moved to San Diego at the end of the day. And we don't even need to talk about San Diego. I don't want to talk about San Diego. They're the biggest disappointment, I would say, in the last 5 years when it comes to the talent that they have. And we said the same thing last year.
Good pitching, really good offensive players, and they just can't figure it out.
It's ridiculous. And again, we said the same thing last year. This team had, World Series aspirations, and then they completely collapsed in the second half of the season. We thought that was going to be, a little different. This year, they get to the All-Star break, they bring in probably the best player in baseball, and now they're still 20 games behind the Dodgers, and there's really nothing they can do about that.
Yep, it's crazy, man. That's for sure.
We kind of blew through our topics today.
The last thing I do want to talk about before I have to leave before you give down the road before you give us our top your top 10 for the week. I just want to get back to Aaron Judge real quick. I don't know if they're going to do what they did for during if you remember during the home run chase with Sosa and McGuire. They were putting their at bats on like ESPN Live and stuff. I wonder if they're going to do that with Judge when he's getting towards Roger Maris. Now I know it's just the Yankee record; it's not the baseball record. So maybe they won't. But I'm just intrigued to see what starts to happen when Judge gets towards 60, because he's already at 57. What's going to happen? Are they going to do anything for it, or maybe not?
Well, we got 20 games left. We got 20 games left in the season. You said last week 100% chance he breaks the record.
I think he does.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm still on him breaking the record of the Yankees record of 61. Yes, he needs 4 more home runs. He can have that by the weekend's end. Let's just say he catches high, right? I think he breaks the record. I don't know what they do anything special for it, but we'll have to see, I'm definitely eager to see what they do.
All right, no problem. Actually, Tommy, before you go, I'm gonna give you my top 10.
All right, go
And
ahead.
I'll use the last 10 minutes to talk about some football because we got some football on tonight. We got Raiders, not Raiders Chargers. We got Chiefs Chargers. We see the big star behind me. I'm gonna cry about the Cowboys for about 5 minutes. Tommy,
I'm
we
on
already
the
know where you're
bandwagon.
at.
You already know.
I know you
We
don't
said
want
it
to talk about the
pre-show.
team.
I'm thanks to my friend Angelo, I decided to join. Not well, he just put my face
You're
on.
taking your talents to Buffalo.
That's it. I'm taking Tom Karasi is taking his talents to the Buffalo Bills. I am now a Buffalo Bill fan. I was on the cover of the fantasy football edition. Um, for all those of you who didn't see it, go check out my Facebook page. I joined the Buffalo Bills. Go Bills Mafia. Sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. So, number 10 this week, we got Oswaldo Cabrera. With the stick, not the best. 222, a 650 OPS, got the home run, and he's got 4 RBIs. But what he's done in the outfield this season for a middle infielder, for a guy that didn't play a lot of outfield, he has been sensational. Diving stops, robbing home runs, gunning guys at the plate. He's got
He's
6
been
assists
phenomenal.
in 20 games from the
They might
outfield.
want to. They might want to look. They might want to look it up to maybe keep this guy in the outfield moving forward as a career outfielder. He's just really good out there.
Yeah. Like Oswaldo Cabrera has been absolutely insane defensively. We'd love to see a little bit more out of him with the stick, but if he can play like this, I wouldn't mind him playing every day for this team.
Not wrong.
Number 9, someone who's actually had a pretty good week, and I'm not going to be biased. IKF has had a pretty good week. He hit 320, got on base, scored 5 times, and didn't fuck up defensively this week, and I can only cheer that on. You know, he hasn't been my favorite player all year. He hasn't been my second favorite player all year. But IKF has had a pretty good week, and I would like to recognize that. I don't want to bring in my bias into it. Guys like Cole would usually be on this list. He got shelled. German only pitched 1 inning this week, so I can't really put him. IKF played really well. I'll give him the number 9 spot. Number 8, we got Wandy. Wandy this week, 3 2/3, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, no runs. He's got a win and a save. He's the guy that we kind of brought into the pen, brought from the pen rather, and he took control of the game and knew exactly what to do. Wandy, number 8. Number 7, we got Giancarlo Stanton. He's played really well since coming back from injury. He struggled a little bit in that first week. Came back this week, hit 278, had a 1 OPS, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, a double. He played really well in Boston, as he usually does. And if this is the Giancarlo Stanton we're going to get going forward, I'm really confident in this team.
Yeah, need if I heard you correctly, we need Giancarlo Stanton to get back. I don't know if that's what you just said. I thought I heard Stanton's name, but
yeah. Stan, I had Stan at 7 because over the last week he's hitting 280 with a 1 OPS, 2 home runs,
yeah,
4
we
RBIs.
need him bad, dude. It's been he's been like I don't know, he's been pulling off a lot ever since he came back from the DL. So I'm hoping that maybe he can turn that around.
Yeah. Number 6, we got Nestor. Had a great performance last night. Came off the IL a couple of starts ago. Only gave us 4 1/3 in his return start. Gave us a full 5 here, 3 hits, only 1 run, 7 strikeouts. Got the W last night. That's about what you could expect out of Nestor. Hopefully he can go another inning come playoff time, but he played really well, and he's the guy that we need. He's going to be that number 2, number 3 guy when it comes to the rotation, and when Severino comes back, which I haven't heard a lot about Severino recently, but hopefully he'll be back come playoff time. Number 5, we got Karate Kid. Last 25 games, he's only got 3 earned runs, 32 strikeouts, and a .96. He's a guy that, he struggled when he's got those inherited runners. But when he's got clean base paths, he's played really well, and I can't really dog on him too much. Again, he's only given up 3 runs in the last 28 innings. So, Ron Marinaccio, number 5. Number 4, Clark Schmidt. In September, 11 innings pitched, 7 hits, and a 1.5 and a 1.6 ERA. He played really well in the last week. 7 of those 11 innings came this week. Didn't allow a run. Played really well. Clark Schmidt is definitely going to be a big piece of the rotation come the postseason. And I think he had a really good week, number 4 for the team. Number three.
Schmidt got good stuff. Don't let me cut you off. I like that kid as a possible starter next year. Let's work him into that role. I think he'd be perfect as a starter.
Yeah, of course. We've talked about that for weeks. About Schmidt possibly being that number 5 guy next year, or a mid-level rotation guy. Number 3, the guy is back to being what he was, Jonathan Loizaga. In his last 10, he's only allowed the 1, which he allowed last night. 8 strikeouts, 11 innings, a .79 ERA. He's back to being what we thought he was going to be at the beginning of the year. Guys like you and Ray were throwing around the word cooked. But Loizaga been pretty good over his last 10. I think he's been the most reliable guy not named Ron Marinaccio coming out of the pen since the All-Star break, and Loizaga is going to earn the number 3 spot. Number 2, the guy who had a great week, Gleyber Torres. He hit 320, a 916 OPS. He had the 2 home runs and the 2 bases clearing hits against Boston that put us over. Yeah, that one against Boston in game 2.
Let me see that.
Little league home run. Not really something to ride home about, but hey, it was fun. It's fun. It's baseball. Let the kids play. Rounds the bases. Torres, he had 9 RBIs. Those 2 big home runs, especially the bases clearing double in the 10th inning of game 1. So Gleyber Torres has earned that number 2 spot. And of course, number 1, don't even need to say his name. It's Aaron Judge. 50 games since the All-Star break. He's hitting 360 with a 1.3 OPS, 24 home runs, and he's striking out as much as he's walking. And he's also got half of his stolen bases since the All-Star break. In 50 games, he's got 8 stolen bases out of his 16. Phenomenal. Aaron Judge, number 1, no question. All right, Tommy, you going to head out?
Yo, listen, man. Very good top 10. I'm going to head out, but that was a great top 10. Aaron Judge, clearly number 1. I like Torres, number 2. Getting back to being the guy that we need him to be. Solid, man. Your top 10's been solid, man. I will commend you on your top 10s.
That's what I like to hear. All right. If you got anything left to say it now. Forever hold your peace.
Let's go Yankees. Let's keep up the good momentum. Let's start winning some more games, and let's lock this division up, baby. Let's go. Go Yanks. Go Bills. Right. Bills Mafia.
Local Bills fan Tommy is gonna sign out for us.
All right, my man. Guys,
see you next week, Tommy.
Tune in. We'll see you guys next week. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Back to me. We're doing it solo. We're going to talk some football. This is a Yankees primarily thing, but, we're talking about sports as a whole here at Fired Up Sports. Give a quick recap of week 1. Bills-Rams starts off the season. Man, the Bills look really good. Tommy has made a really good choice by going over to the Bills. Me, I'm still flying the Stars. My team, I love this team. We're going to talk about them later. Bills just look absolutely insane. Von Miller is still just a dangerous outside edge threat that, you can never really count out at this point. Going up against his former team in the Rams, a team he just won a Super Bowl with, and he looks to be in position to get a 3rd Super Bowl. Josh Allen is looking like the best quarterback in football this week. Well, other than Patrick Mahomes, who we're going to talk about. And Bills just look in control. Now on the Rams side, Matthew Stafford didn't look that great. Yes, it's week 1. Yes, they don't play a lot of preseason when you're like the mainline starters, but Matthew Stafford didn't look the best. Maybe he's missing Odell Beckham. Maybe that's what's going on. Robert Woods was also not there. He went to Tennessee. So it was really Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee leading the way when it comes to receiving. I thought Allen Robinson was going to have a bigger role. He didn't. Maybe we'll see that as the season goes on. But right now, Bills look like the best team in football, and the Rams, Super Bowl champion, they don't. Eagles-Lions. This game should not have been as close as it was. But if there's one thing that you can count on the Lions doing is just making a run at the end of the game for no reason. Very close game. 38-35. They were up 38, I think 24 at one point, 38 to 21. They ended up storming back. The Lions, tough team, had that season of Hard Knocks. But we're going to see that the Lions, they may not be the pushover of the league anymore. Now on to the Eagles. A.J. Brown looks really good. Also, why is my camera not focusing? There we go. Can we please? 5 minutes, please. A.J. Brown is looking like a top 10 receiver right now. And that's not surprising for someone that really followed him in Tennessee. A lot of people thought he benefited from having Derrick Henry given the ball so much, and he wasn't as good. And, Ryan Tannehill throwing him the ball. He looked really, really good with Jalen Hurts. 10 catches, 155 yards. I've had him on my fantasy team even. Love me some A.J. Brown. He's going to have a phenomenal year. Moving on. Bears 49ers in the wettest turf I've ever seen. They were slipping and sliding. Had the big, they had the photo moment, the photo-worthy moment with Justin Fields and the rest of the team flexing in the end zone after the game. Love, seeing that. At the end of the day, these guys are just playing a game, and it's good to see that kind of fun. I'm not looking too deep into what Trey Lance did, just because, again, the field conditions were so bad that I don't think that there's really a lot you can control there. Trey Lance, we got to see a little bit more. I know 49ers fans are already calling for Jimmy Garoppolo to come back. I think that's a little too far, a little too much of a reach as of right now. And I'm not the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan. He does know how to win games, and we'll see what's in the future for the 49ers. Steelers Bengals. What a fucking train wreck that was. Steelers with like 5 turnovers, forcing Cincinnati to 5 turnovers. Only ended up winning by 3 after missed field goals and blocked extra points and blown coverages, and the injury to TJ Watt, which isn't severe as it looked. It is a torn pec, but he's not going to require surgery. So he's going to be out for 6 weeks, probably 6 to 8. And great. It was a fun game to watch. It must have been frustrating to watch from the sidelines. I'll tell you that much. It was it was just anything that could go wrong did go wrong in that game for those offenses. And Steelers did come out on top 23-20. I'm still not confident in that team. I feel like they got worse. Mitch Trubisky is cool. I don't think he's a guy that you could really bet on to give you a deep run, but we'll see. Dolphins Patriots. I think it's time to stamp that the Patriots were a team that relied on Brady more than Belichick. Belichick, fantastic coach, Hall of Fame level coach, but that team really looks bad without Brady sometimes. Mac Jones is cool. Brady just made that team what it was. Other than that, man, they just can't beat the Dolphins, and it's been like that for the last 5 years. The Dolphins just have their number. You got the Miami Miracle. You got Week 17 a couple of years ago where they lost. I just don't think that there's something about Miami that Belichick just can't get past. 20-7 Dolphins over the Patriots. Browns Panthers. Baker Mayfield coming back, trying to, have that revenge game against the Browns. Revenge games didn't really work out this week. Baker Mayfield, they were down in the fourth quarter. Baker brought the Panthers storming back with CMC. But at the end of the day, the defense just couldn't hold them, and then they would lose to the field goal by Cade York. They would lose 26-24. Baker not able to get his revenge. Colts Texans, the tie, 2020. I expected more out of the Colts. The Texans should be a bottom feeding team, and they looked like that in the second half. But in the first half, the Colts just looked outclassed. It was bad that the Colts looked that. I thought that they upgraded at quarterback when you went from from Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan. They just didn't look like that though. 20-20 final. It's week 1. I don't really want to look too far into that, but it's definitely something. It's definitely cause for concern where you can't beat the Houston Texans. Saints Falcons. The Falcons can't stop choking. Nothing new there. They thought getting rid of Matt Ryan would get rid of the 28-3 curse. It's still alive and kicking. Michael Thomas had a great second half. He looks back. He looks back to being one of the best receivers in football. If that second half is anything to indicate from, Jameis Winston is still a fun player to watch. Limiting his turnovers. Maybe he can finally see now. The knee looks good. On the Falcons side, Cordero Patterson looked great. Marcus Mariota looked cool. It's just, man, they blew another 13-point lead in the fourth quarter. And then they would also lose by a last-second field goal by Will Lutz. Frustrating to watch the Falcons. I always have high hope for the Falcons, and they always disappoint me. Ravens, Jets. Jets suck. Ravens don't. End of story. Lamar Jackson looked really good. Devin Duvernay had a couple of big plays. Rashad Bateman had the touchdown. Other than that, no really surprise. The Yankees outscored the Jets on 9/11 that day. Ravens on top. Commanders, Jaguars, pseudo revenge game for Carson Wentz on his new team in Washington, playing the team that prevented him from going to the playoffs last year, and Doug Peterson, who was his coach that a lot of people would say that he didn't really gel with and he struggled with, but Carson Wentz looked pretty good in game one. He had 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You know, that's about what you would expect out of Carson Wentz. Jahan Dotson looks like a really good receiver, especially when you have, when you're comparing him to the guys he's lining up with. Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin, very, very good wide receiving core. And I have high hopes for this Washington team. The Jaguars, disappointing. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look a thing like he did in college. He's not really a floor or ceiling raiser at this point. I just don't think the Jaguars are a good team. They had that fluke run in 2017 with Blake Bortles. Other than that, nothing really. Moving on. Vikings, Packers. Packers get shit stomped in week 1. Nothing new. They're still going to finish like 12-5 or 3-14 or 13-4. Like, it's the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is going to figure it out. He doesn't play the postseason, so not at all surprising what happened. It's the same thing that happened last year with the Saints. I don't see the Packers getting extraordinarily worse. I do, however, think that the team that beat them this week, the Vikings, will win the NFC North, just because top to bottom, their defense is solid. Justin Jefferson is a great receiver. Adam Thielen, I think at this point, has become underrated. Dalvin Cook is another top running back. And Kirk Cousins is somebody that gets clowned on, but he's not a guy that makes a ton of mistakes. He's a 5,000-yard passer, a 4,500-yard passer who will give you 45 touchdowns and like 12 interceptions. He's not somebody that will lose you a ton of games. He will have those duds, of course. Every quarterback does. Maybe Kirk Cousins has 1 or 2 more than the average, but he's still a really good quarterback. Kirk Cousins, I think, can lead this team to at least the 1 seed in the NFC North. But I don't have a lot of fear. I'm not writing off the Packers week 1. Giants, Titans. Saquon Barkley looks back, and that's a scary sight for a lot of teams. If Saquon Barkley can recover and be the guy that his talent puts forward, I don't think that there's a lot that can hold him back. I think the offensive line needs to get better. Danny Dimes is still not the option. But it was enough to get through week 1 just because the Titans collapsed. Derrick Henry didn't look like Derrick Henry. You saw the clip everywhere of him getting hit sticked and him flying through the air. Usually Derrick Henry's the one doing that to people. And this time he's the one that took the shot. Questionable game out of the Titans. And as we've gone through, all of the AFC South teams do not have a win in week 1. The Texans, the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Colts. It's a rough division to watch right now, but Giants got the win 21-20. I did not expect that. But good for Saquon. Derrick Henry, tighten up. Chargers, Raiders. Chargers looked pretty much in control the entire game. every time it looked like the Raiders were going to make a run, back-breaking interception by Derek Carr like clockwork. Derek Carr is a guy that, he's another guy that could lead you to a pretty decent record, but there's just sometimes it's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Even with Devontae Adams now as his WR1, who had more receiving yards than the entire Packers receiving core this week. They still came up short because of a back-breaking interception by Derek Carr and the offensive line not being able to hold up. Other than that, the Chargers, Justin Herbert looks great. Keenan Allen did get injured, which is concerning because that happens a lot for Keenan Allen. But Chargers look really good. Their defense looks really, really good with Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson. Like it's a very good team. Chiefs Cardinals. Chiefs absolutely massacred the Cardinals 44-21. Patrick Mahomes did what he did. He's not sorely missing Tyreek Hill like a lot of people thought he would. Travis Kelce played well. Mecole Hardman played well. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got a couple of touchdowns. Like top to bottom, the Chiefs looked really, really good. The Cardinals, however, are missing their wide receivers. Christian Kirk is gone. DeAndre Hopkins is gone for the first 6 weeks. So I don't really want to judge the Cardinals for what they are presently because it's not what they are going to be. But man, Chiefs kind of just destroyed them. Bucks Cowboys. That was the worst offensive performance out of the Cowboys I think I've ever seen. And I've seen Ben DiNucci at quarterback and Brian Hoyer and Matt Castle. It was bad. The defense held up. Micah Parsons looked really good. Other than the touchdown to Mike Evans, Trayvon Diggs looked really good. Anthony Brown got beat by that big play by Julio, but it's Julio Jones. Other than that, team looked really, really good on the defensive side. On the offensive side, man, missing Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup still injured. So it was really just CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz out there. Zeke actually played pretty well when he got the rock. He 10 carries, 52 yards. That's 5 a carry. It's just he didn't get the ball. A lot of trick plays were designed for Tony Pollard that went nowhere. So that's where I'm at right now. This team is frustrating. I am also a Bills fan just because I've been a big Josh Allen fan since he saved my fantasy season 4 years ago. So if they can't make it, Bills Mafia. And then the final game of the week, Seahawks versus the Broncos. Russ coming home to Seattle for the first time this year, for the only time this year, I should say. And just questionable clock management ended up costing that Denver team 64-yard field goal attempt from a guy that's never made it from 62 on a few attempts. It's not really what you want to see. Seahawks, Geno Smith looked incredible. Geno Smith probably had the game of his career this week. So good for Geno. The Seattle team is probably not going to do a lot this year, but right now they're sitting pretty. With the Rams losing and the 49ers losing and the Cardinals losing, Seattle kind of just ends up in first place. That's probably not going to last long, but Geno Smith, good for you. Great story. Love Geno Smith. Great post-game interview. Looking forward tonight. Just looking forward to tonight. Chargers Chiefs. That's going to be a great game. I'm probably going to go on the Chargers end. I do think the Chargers are going to win the division. I think they have the best team top to bottom. Of course, the best quarterback is on the Chiefs, so he can just take over a game and be like, no, I'm winning. And fair enough. But Chargers, I just think they got it. I just think their defense is really, really good. They improved. They got Khalil Mack on the other side of Joey Bosa now. It's not going to be an easy win. It's not. I think this is going to be a really good game. I could probably see this being like a 31-28 type of game. But we'll see. And that is all the football I have to talk about tonight. Yankees wise, we do have the Milwaukee series coming up. That'll be solid. Gotta love to see the see if Christian Yelich. I love Christian Yelich. I think he's one of the best players over the last couple of years, and he's just been killed by injuries. and he just hasn't looked the same. But right now he looks like he's kind of resurging a little bit. So we got Milwaukee, who's trying to make a playoff push, and then Pittsburgh and Boston, who are out of it more or less. So relatively easy schedule over the next week. So when we come back, hopefully we'll have some good things to talk about. For Tommy and for me and for Joe and Jeff and everybody at Fired Up Sports, this has been Yank This episode 14. And this is just going to be me signing out because Tommy's not here. Love talking football, love talking baseball, and we're going to be back next week, same time. Have a good one.